If you have felt burdened and helpless by the events of this past week, then I am so glad you're here with us today. At a time when it feels that so much of our world is out of control, today's podcast will encourage you to focus on the things you can control, starting with you and how you prepare your heart, mind, and body daily to do the work that God has called you to do in your home. With me today are my friends Dubron Haselwood, an online marketing coach and pastor, and Ashley Hontz, a registered nurse and lactation consultant. They're both moms of multiple children who prioritize healthy habits and self-care while balancing their various callings in life.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the Seek Holy Living podcast with Krista Svoboda. I am a wife to my wonderful husband, mom to my 5 precious children, and a friend to some amazing moms that I can't wait to introduce to you. Mothering is not a journey meant to be traveled alone. Join me every Monday for a new podcast where you will find hope, joy, and purpose. Thank you guys so much for coming today. This is such a fun conversation. Thank you, Dubron, for being here.
Of course. Thanks.
And thank you, Ashley, for jumping in with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Krista.
Oh, you're welcome. It's going to be so fun. So we're talking about something that I think is going to be a fun mom topic because I think about how kind of Instagram speaks to mom life and kind of speaks to moms is like there's this intense extreme that either mom life falls in this like hashtag mom life with like your messy bun and your yoga pants and your oversized t-shirt that you've been wearing for 5 days because you've never showered, or it falls into this extreme of this like hashtag Instamom where you're the mom who's just got it like on point and your kids are all on point. And I mean, like we all have those days, but it's like those are days and like moments to be treasured. Like that's a day to take a picture of and remember, but it's not our everyday. Right. But I'm really excited to be with both of you. So thank you so much. We are going to talk starting off about how we've prepared ourselves for our days as a mom. And so I'm wondering, have you always been the kind of mom who's always prepared yourself for the day to like get yourself starting on the right foot? Or is that something that you kind of started off later in mom life? Dubron, why don't you start us?
Okay. I did not start mom life that way. So no, I started mom life almost in survival mode.
Yes. I think everyone can just agree.
Like a moment of silence for there. But I stayed in survival mode way longer than I would wish on anyone, you know, for sure. Just not realizing really what I needed to do and how to fix that or move myself out of that place. But once I did start to kind of think like, okay, I want to be more intentional about my life and the way I'm, you know, who I'm putting out into not only my family and for my kids to see, but the world, you know, like then I started being really intentional about that. Like, okay, well, how do I set myself up for success in my day? Whether it's because I'm going to work or to serve at church or to whatever, you know, or I'm just staying home today with my kids and we're playing board games. Either way, I wanted to be the best, you know, the best that I could be that day. So yeah, I started putting some intention into like starting my morning with some time for myself and, you know, reading or quiet time, coffee, things like that to just like kind of get myself in a mindset where I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm already playing catch up. You know, I just woke up and I'm behind the ball, you know, and then washing my face and getting dressed, you know, some of the very basic minimums, but yeah.
I remember a lady at a store when I was one time like going to get, I'm pretty minimalistic when it comes to like makeup and all of that, like in the morning and stuff for my regular day, you know? But I remember the lady who was helping me one time when I was looking to get something to like match my color or something. And she was like, well, do you use any kind of like an eye cream? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay, well, maybe now's the time to start. I was like, oh, well, thank you, I guess. I don't know if that's a thank you or not. But I love it. But I did, and it probably was a good choice.
Yeah.
Just hadn't jumped into that place. Yeah. Ashley, what about you? Have you always like taken care of yourself, or is it kind of been a journey.
Yeah, it's kind of been a journey. I think the same as Dubron kind of said. And it's funny that you mentioned that story because recently I had gone to like Ulta or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's where it happened to me.
Yeah, right? To go like pick up like just a face wash or something. And so I asked the lady, I said, do you have anything you recommend? And she said, well, when have you had your last facial? And I was like, I don't think I've ever had a facial. Like, am I supposed to? She's like, oh, at your age, that's really something you should do. I was like, okay, let's just get back to just give me some basics here, So, but yeah, with mothering, I definitely, I think before, like when I first got married, I took care of myself. I kind of prepared myself for my day. And then when I had kids, it kind of all went by the wayside. It was like, and not that I blame my kids in any way or anything. It's just that everything took time. I had to make dinners. I had to change diapers. I had to feed the baby, and all these things. And I think it became a habit for me to just not really make myself a priority. And so that's something, though, that as my kids started to get older, I thought, you know what? I need to do this. And not only because I wanted to be an example to them, but because I realized that on the days that I did put myself as a priority and take care of myself, I felt like I had more to give. And I just wasn't, I was giving the best of myself and not my depleted self. So that's something that, over the last, I would say 5 years or so, I've started to make it a little bit more of a priority. And then there was one time I was reading and in the Bible, and there was a scripture that kind of convicted me. It was, I have to look, 1 Corinthians 16:20, and it was saying, 6:20, and it was saying that we need to honor God with our bodies. And I thought, man, am I really honoring God with my body? Like, am I really taking the time to take care of myself? And then on top of that, how are my children perceiving this? Are they learning from me? Things are caught more than taught. And are they learning, okay, mom's not taking care of herself. We don't really have to do that either. And so that was really convicting to me. And I thought, you know what, I need to take care of myself. And then that will teach, hopefully, my kids how to help take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So
I think it's interesting because I would totally echo both of you when I first had a baby season. And I remember someone suggesting to buy for me, you need to buy yourself some postpartum jeans. And I was like, postpartum jeans? What are postpartum jeans? Like, what does that mean? And she's like, get out of the stretchy waistband and get yourself some jeans that button. Because reality is, you may never actually fit into those other jeans that buttoned again.
Right.
Which I was like, I will too fit into those buttoned jeans again. But like, real life, I didn't ever fit into those specific jeans again. That's okay. Bodies change. But I think part of that is even claiming that after your first, you have to settle into this newness of like, what is my new self like right now? And we didn't have a lot of money. So it wasn't like I had the choice to just be like, oh, I'm just going to like go to this place and buy all these like nice things to feel good for this season. But I could afford an Old Navy trip to get a few things and got myself a few shirts so that like if I got spit up on it in the morning, I could change into another one that still fit me. And not have to just wear the spit up shirt the whole day long. And buy jeans that buttoned. And it was like, I remember her even saying like, do not even look at the size. Just decide that you feel better about yourself. And I was like, okay. And I think that was a step for me in like, there was something symbolic about that shift and mind change of like, I feel good about what I'm wearing again. And it was nothing fancy. I mean, we're talking like black t-shirt and jeans, but it felt so good to be out of that like funk of what I felt like I had just been kind of sitting in for a while. So that was really
kind of symbolic in a way, like to accept that the new you,
And giving yourself some grace too. Like you don't have to fit into the jeans you fit in before because your body will change. And it's just that way that our bodies are created. So.
Right. So what does it look like for you to prepare yourself for the day now? I'll let you start us off, Ashley, because you said you kind of had a shift. So what does it look like for you?
So like now I take a little more time for myself. Sometimes I wake up earlier than my kids wake up because if I don't do that, it might not happen. But I think the biggest thing for me is I do better when I prepare the night before. So I'm a big list maker. And if I go to bed, before I go to bed, I get out my phone and I go to my little list app, my to-do app. And I even put little things on there, like make my bed, wash my face, If I'm going to work out, I put in the workout, and I try to put like a time frame so that when I wake up in the morning, I know what I'm doing and I'm not lost in, okay, this has already happened. The baby's, needs a diaper change or whatever has happened. I can kind of just go with my list and go, okay, this is my structure for today. And I can kind of keep sight of what my goals are. So I definitely do that. I prepare, the night before and just kind of, get my morning rolling.
Yeah.
With intention.
Yes. Yes. It definitely takes a plan.
Yeah.
What about you, Dubron?
I kind of started to mention it earlier, and I love the list thing too. I do the same thing, and even to the week. So like on Sunday night, I sit down and kind of look at the whole week, and then each night before, like Ashley was saying, just look at the next day. But in the morning, I like to get up before my kids. It's like a huge thing. It didn't happen for so long because they were little and sleeping with me oftentimes.
Right.
But now I like to get up before my kids and just kind of get my heart and my mind ready, and positioned for the day, where I can just have a couple minutes to sit and read. And I usually sit on my porch and, so yeah, that's kind of how I start. I always wash my face, so I don't wear makeup every day, but washing my face is no question. So I start the day like that, and like, okay, here we go.
Yes.
Right.
But it is starting purposefully.
Yes, exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
Well, we've been it's funny, having been in a season of being pregnant and then knowing that we have a new baby around the corner, part of preparing for that for me has also been thinking of how am I preparing my other kids for me to have the space that I'll need to be able to mother well. And part of that is knowing, okay, I'm going to be tired because, or like I already am tired, like that third trimester space. But knowing that tiredness is going to continue for a while. Yeah. And I also really like stillness with a baby. And it's hard, like you mentioned, like when you start the day, when your feet hit the floor, it almost feels like you've got race shoes on.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the questions just come pouring in and the problems come pouring in. It just can feel like, stop, that's too much. So we've actually even worked with on resetting a new morning schedule for our older kids. And we sat at the table and I was trying to think, how do I introduce this to them in a way that's exciting to them and doesn't feel like, wait a minute, Mom's saying we have to stay in our room until what time? This is horrible. So I got out some paper and I said, hey, we're going to paint something. Let me teach you how to paint a background. So I taught them how to paint a background of paper kind of. And then I said, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this cool paper that you made and we're going to write a morning routine. And here's what it's going to look like. And we wrote out the routine and I had them put it in a space in their room where they would like it. One preferred it in a drawer, another preferred it on their wall. So kind of give them some ownership of it that way. But that included what time they can wake up and also encouraging them to use that time to get ready. Right. And it's been interesting because that time I started it for me because I thought I need time to prepare my heart and myself. If I don't give time for me to brush my teeth and do my hair and get dressed, no one else is going to be like, hey, Mom, do you need some time to go brush your hair? Nobody's going to give it to me if I don't claim it for myself. But what I didn't foresee is that they needed that time. And I was giving them time in their day. And one of my kids even said, Mom, thank you so much for that time. Because now I just know this is what I'm supposed to be doing during this time. And I really like that you're not having to tell me every day.
Oh,
So that's great. It was this personal ownership.
That's awesome.
So it ended up really serving all of us really well.
Fostering some independence in them. And, and I love how you say about just preparing your heart. And I feel like that's something I have to do too. And sometimes I have, a lot of times I have to wake up in the morning and I have to, really think when I'm having my coffee or I'm having my quiet time, I kind of have to practice an attitude of gratitude, and kind of get in this place that, wow, thank you, God, that I am a mom. Thank you that I have these children. I know it's going to be a tiring day. I know I'm going to be exhausted. I probably already am exhausted and, wanted a little more sleep or whatever. But just getting in that mindset really helps me to kind of live out the fruits of the Spirit in my day. It helps me to be more joyful. It helps me to be more patient and more kind and have more self-control when I'm remembering what is my purpose and I'm a mom. And that is so special and something that I shouldn't take for granted because there's a lot of women out there who would love to have children running around and would love to be so busy that maybe they don't have time in their day for them, for themselves. So that's something that, is a good point to, just how we prepare our hearts too. So
Okay, let's do some comparing and contrasting. So when you were, I've had seasons where I've worked full time, and I have had seasons where I worked part time. When you've had seasons where you're going to work versus seasons or days even when you're staying home, how does your preparing yourself look the same or different depending on that day? You want to start, Dubron?
Yeah, so I almost exclusively work from home, and I have for a long, long time. So, but there are like little pockets, days where I have meetings or I go on a business trip or something like that. So I'll compare to those. But preparing my heart emotionally and my mind and that kind of thing is the same no matter what. And I've learned that I need that, I value it. And so I just make it, it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Now the physical preparation, besides washing my face, the rest of that changes.
Yes.
So when I'm working from home, if I'm not, having to be on a meeting, a conference call or Zoom or whatever, then I am way more laid back, and I don't, I will wash my face and that's it. Like that's what we're doing for the day, and staying comfortable and all that. But I've noticed when I'm on a business trip or when I have a meeting or whatever, I really take it up a notch. And what's interesting though is sometimes it does change like my mood in a way where I like feel like, oh, I love this outfit, or
Yes.
like and I've even asked myself like, shoot, why do I save that only for other people? Why do I save that mood just for when I'm going to go out and see the rest of the world? Why can't I do that once in a while for myself? If I'm at home, I can still put on an outfit that I love and get some bracelets going and feel like fun and sassy and I love this, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely, those are some differences that I've noticed, but
yeah. What about you, Ashley?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's changed a little bit, even with this season of the pandemic, because I'm a nurse at a hospital. So where I used to like do my makeup and do my hair, now I go to work with a scrub cap on my head, goggles on my face, and a mask. So you can't really even see. So honestly, in some ways, it's a little bit easier because if I'm having a bad hair day, I just put my cap on, I just put my mask on. I don't have to do any of that. But I still prepare physically for work in terms of I make sure to try to get a good night's sleep. I eat like a good breakfast so I'm ready to go for the day and fuel my day. I try to keep hydrated. I take my vitamins, just things like that that help me physically to kind of like push through. When I'm at home, I sometimes now because I'm not getting as ready as much, for work, I do find myself maybe getting ready a little bit more at home, maybe doing my makeup a little bit more. And you're right. Like, those times when you do your makeup or you put on that cute outfit, you're like, I'm feeling good. And you have a little more pep in your step. Yeah. So other things I do as a mom just to prepare for my day at home, on top of the whole eating, nutritious foods and taking my vitamins and all that stuff. Before I go to bed, again, it goes back to the list making. I'm really big about preparing the night before, but I try to set myself up for success. So if I know, okay, tomorrow I want to go for a jog in the morning, I'm going to lay my workout clothes out. I'm going to put my shoes by the door so that, So I'm like, okay, in the morning, this is what I'm doing.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuses. Yeah. I try to make sure my water bottle is nice and clean. So it's like all day I'm, drinking my water, keeping hydrated. If I'm going to be cleaning, sometimes it's a day where I'm like, ooh, my house is a mess. I need to do damage control. Sometimes I'll put on a really cute apron. I don't know why, but putting on a cute apron and putting my hair up in something, and some good music on just really helps to get my heart motivated. So that's helpful.
That's cute.
Yeah.
What other practical tips, Dubron? Do you have other ones that you think of? I mean, I know you mentioned just washing your face to get the day going, which that really is like a real start.
No, it is, and ending the day. So I am big on taking care of my skin because I am pretty minimal with makeup also, but I've learned over the years and really just since being a mom, how much, I think at first I was wearing makeup to feel better. And then I started to learn about, okay, I need to take care of my skin and it's the only one I got, right? And then it transformed into, well, now I wear makeup because I want to, because I feel good about the way I look with or without it, and it's just having that confidence in, okay, I'm taking care of my body, I'm taking care of my skin. This is who I am, this is what I've got. And so I would say being intentional and putting some effort into that, like Ashley was saying, like drinking your water and exercising and just doing those normal, like, we know these things, you know, but it's just like telling yourself, you know, you're worth it. Show up for yourself, you know, take care of yourself.
Don't lose yourself in your daily just because it is a choice.
Right. It is a choice. And it's so easy. I get it, especially when your kids are really little. It is so easy to let that go by the wayside and like, oh, I'm just so tired. I'm crashing, you know, I'm falling asleep. I am not washing my face. I get it. But your kids see that. And as they get older, you know, my oldest is 14 and she's a girl. And so I want her to love who she is and the way she was created and take care of herself, you know? And so she's only going to learn that from me right now, you know?
I was thinking of that too when you're talking about kids and having, you know, as they're getting older, that the choices we make are modeling for them how they can grow up. It's like we can tell them all the things.
Right.
But I mean, it was kind of like how I accidentally helped my kids start getting ready better on their own in the
right.
mornings.
Right.
It wasn't even on purpose, but because I started modeling, this is what I'm going to be doing, that then they started doing it. And so we set that tone for them.
Yeah. You've taught your kids to be good stewards with their time and like what a valuable lesson.
Right.
You know, that's huge.
Right.
I love it.
Even if it came from a slightly self-considering. But it is so funny, guys. I almost even said selfish motivation, but it's not selfish. It's taking care of yourself.
Right.
And I think that whole self-care term has kind of gone to the extreme of like self-care means facials or self-care means massages. And like, I am all about a good massage. So like, don't get me wrong. That's great. But self-care really also does mean giving time to care for yourself and to model. And that does, it models for your children.
Yeah.
And I do think in my home, I don't know, I'm curious if you guys think the same thing. In my home, when I take care of myself and prepare myself for the day, prepare my heart and prepare my body when I do my hair. And I do find even if I just put on some makeup, like if I was like as if I was getting out to go see a friend.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, not like I'm going to go out, not necessarily like it's a date night, you know, but if I was going to see a friend, how would I prepare myself? Or even when I was teaching, how did I prepare myself for a day of teaching to be in front of all of those children?
Right.
And thinking I'm at home and I am with these 5 children and I am the face that they see all day long. I am the only, I mean, they see other people. Like, don't get me wrong. We don't just like walk in our house. Oh, they're one of those families. No, we are not one of those families. But I prepared myself for them and like, I want to like for them to know, like associate a scent, like, oh, that's that lotion that mom wears, or oh, that's that thing. And I've found that in my home, when I prepare myself, they act different, that they feed off of it in a different way. And they can tell. And I know that I know there's different kinds of men that some husbands are like totally oblivious to those kinds of things, but some are more in tune. And mine will even like, oh, you look so nice. And it's funny. It's probably more just because I washed my face, not because I took time to like get fancy. But he notices the difference too.
You know, my neighbor, she told me one time her daughter, she was like 7 at the time, and she asked her to curl her hair. Like she asked her mom, can you curl your hair today? And she was like, okay, why? And she's like, well, because we're hanging out. Like, just, can you curl your hair for me? And it was like this sweet little moment where I hadn't thought about that. Like, you know, I wonder, you know, we show up, we up the ante, right? If we're going to go see other people, but like maybe our kids are okay with that too once in a while, right? Like maybe they feel appreciated or whatever. So
yeah. Do you notice the difference?
Oh,
Ashley and your kiddos?
Yeah, big time. I mean, sometimes I even heard Matthew one time, he said, I don't even remember what I was getting ready for, but I was getting ready for something. And he said, wow, Mommy, you look so pretty. And I thought, that's so sweet, you know, and it was so, you know, he noticed. And so like you said, like they do notice those little things. And yeah, so that's just a sweet thing. Just, I do notice my kids too, when I do take the time to prepare myself, they feel more motivated, you know? You know, when I say, okay, guys, my goal this week, you know, I'm going to try to we're going to try to exercise like 4 times this week. You know, it's been wonderful to see how they are now like, Mom, guess what? We designed our own exercise routine and we did it all by ourselves. Like, you know, they came up with one the other day where they're jumping on, you know, walls and jumping off walls. And then they go and sprint somewhere and they thought of it all by themselves. But, it was kind of something that, my husband and I, we kind of modeled, I guess, as especially in this pandemic time, we kind of reclaimed a little bit of our health and tried to take more time to exercise and eat a little better and stuff like that. So our kids are definitely picking up on that. And, exercise and eating right and things, it's so good for your body. And exercise, we know, produces endorphins, which actually, naturally uplift mood and everything. So those are good things to try to work in. Yeah.
Yeah. So what traps or pitfalls, if there's a mom who's like, okay, I've been in this like mom place for like a while. I want to try this. I want to try to start my day better. I want to try to like feel good throughout my day. If there were like any warnings that you would give her going into this, what would it be? You want to start, Ashley?
Ooh, okay. So I think one thing that we often do as moms is we think we don't have time. Like, I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have, but it's funny because we have time to go to Starbucks and we have time to, do other things, which may be a good thing. That may be your thing in the day, Starbucks or self-care. Right? That may be your self-care,
Yes.
right? But if we do a lot of those things and we don't prioritize like more important self-care, it just, doesn't happen. So I would say for her, just making herself a priority, making time a priority for herself, even little things. Like I know things that these are so simple, but they really help me in my day and they don't cost a lot of money or anything. When I first wake up, I open the windows. I open all the windows in my home, let the light in my home, and that really helps to set up for a productive day. It helps to increase vitamin D levels, which increases your immune system. There's, sometimes we'll say, oh, well, we don't have time to work out or, so in those instances, maybe try to find some kind of like DVD or something that you can try to work in even for 10 minutes on like a nap time, which I know nap time is usually the time where you're like, okay, I finally get to sit down. But if exercising is a priority to you, maybe that's something that could be helpful. Or a lot of times I know what I would do too is, I would make these like Pinterest perfect meals and snacks for my kids. And then I would be so busy that I would be eating like cookies and junk, like chips and whatever. Yeah. So just at the beginning of the week, just kind of preparing, okay, I'm going to chop up a bunch of vegetables and I'm going to have like these mixed nuts and some fruit and some things ready to go, something easy to grab that doesn't take time and that just being intentional about, when we say we don't have time, we do have time if we make the time. We got to carve out the time.
Yes. I think that's key. As you said, we have to carve out the time because if you don't make the time, no one else is going to make it for you.
Right.
Like your day can gladly just keep sucking away with all the different things and no one's going to do it for you.
Right.
So, what about you, Dubron? Any traps that you think?
Yeah, I would say specifically speaking to like the physical, getting ready or physical appearance, feeling the pressure to like, okay, now I need to do makeup and hair. It can literally be a minute. Like BB cream and mascara is a whole new woman. Yeah. For real. Okay. That's true. And so I would say focus on keeping it simple but also emotionally, like you don't need to do this because you're not good enough without it. You know, you don't need to do this because it makes you, who you are. It's just you need to do this because you're worth it. That's what I would say is like just to learn to love who you are and who you were made to be. And so put some mascara on because you're worth it.
It's like the best note to end on. I love it because you're worth it. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. This is so much fun. And I know it's going to encourage some moms.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
As you listened today, was there something that challenged you as an area that you could grow in? If you were to change one habit or daily rhythm in your life, what would it be? Would you better serve the Lord and those He has put in your life making that change? If your answer is yes, then now is the best time to start. But it's so much easier said than done, right? I have found that actively doing anything new feels easier and like I'm actually accomplishing something when my work is seen and when it directly impacts others, not only myself. But that's where obedience comes into play. When you are willing to make a change in yourself that will allow you to more effectively serve the Lord in the places He has called you to and with the people that He has put in your path, you are acting in obedience, and the Lord sees and will honor your obedience. I would love to hear about your plan for a healthy new habit. Be on the lookout for my social media posts this week for more on this topic and opportunities to share and encourage others. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss any of our weekly conversations. And check out our show notes below, where I have links to the resources mentioned on the podcast. I release a new podcast every Monday and additional content at seekholyliving.com, including a video of this conversation and a deeper dive into all things mom. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Seek Holy Living for more fun and conversation. If this was an encouragement to you, please share it with your friends. And join us next week for a conversation about empowering our children through chores.